Tim Houston is the Premier of Nova Scotia. Premier, good to have you back on the program. Thanks for making the time.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's start with that question of power. My understanding is about 20,000 Nova Scotians are still without power. Have you received any indication of a timeline for them getting back online?
Yeah, it's somewhere around 25,000 Nova Scotians. So it's already been, this is the 10th day for sure. So this is a long stretch for people and but the damage is extensive. And as the crews get in there and see how tangled some of these messes really are, there'll be people being connected on Saturday, Sunday. So that'll be over 2 full weeks. That's a lot for people to process and deal with for sure. But I look, there's a couple bright spots. I know the storm was incredible. The damage is just breathtaking, but the response of the crews. I mean, I've been out talking to hydro crews from New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So the crews are very focused, and DNR crews and fire departments, our volunteer fire departments. I don't know what we do without them. So there's a lot of good that's happening in the response, but it's taking time. It's too slow in a lot of ways for a lot of people because that's a long time to go without power. So I certainly feel that from them as well.
Yeah, just when you say it could be this weekend, when you're talking about those, is that for all 25,000, or do you expect there to be a good chunk of that who have power, let's say, in the next few days? What can you tell us there?
Yeah, I think heading into the weekend, most of those 25,000 people should have been restored, over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But there's certainly going to be a bunch of people that are Saturday and Sunday restorations. So that's a long run for sure. But people are, you're seeing that good community spirit, and they're still in good spirits. I mean, it's a massive storm. People can see that. They can see the damage. It's devastating for so many ways. Being without power is really, really tough, especially as the weather changes. But the damage in the forests, the damage in the farmers' fields. I mean, this is a Fiona has left a big mark on Nova Scotia, no question about that. It's going to take a long time to recover from this.
And I have a few questions for you about that recovery and the road to it in a moment, but just a final question on the power, and that is around help from the Canadian military. We just heard Minister O'Regan there talk about 550 troops, I think, now in Nova Scotia. I think at one point you had said maybe 1,000 could be necessary. Do you still feel that way? Are there more on the way? What can you tell us there?
Yeah, I mean, for all the bright spots in the response of people, certainly the response on the troop deployment is certainly one that I would have hoped would be a little quicker. We're 10 days in now. We have 350 troops on the ground. I guess an additional 200 more. But we did ask for 1,000, and so there's the work there for the 1,000. The debris is pretty widespread, and for me personally, and I grew up in a military family, and I have great respect for the military, and I know that in Nova Scotia, somewhere around the range of 10,000 troops are stationed here full time. They're all within a couple hours drive away, so we're grateful for the 350. I don't want to say we're not grateful for the 350, or that will become 550. We're grateful for that. But we did ask for 1,000. The work was there for 1,000. It just would have helped the communities 5 days ago for their mental health to really see an effort that help was there for them. So, but look, we'll go forward from here. We'll get through this, and then we'll kind of debrief as to what could be done a little different.
Just so that I'm clear, though, have you made a specific request? Had you made a specific request of the federal government to supply you with 1,000 troops? And was their answer no, just because they have seemed very willing to provide those forces throughout Fiona? I just want to be clear, was there an actual answer provided that was no?
Yeah, well, the ask was 1,000, and that ask was made a couple different times in letters and a couple different formats. So nobody's ever said no, you can't have 1,000. But I also know that there's only 350 soon to be increased, I guess, to 550. So I know what I know about how many were deployed, but I also know that we asked for 1,000. And look, the damage is extensive. Lots of work to do. Many hands make light work, and certainly there's lots of work to be done. But the other side of that too is just the mental health of people seeing the support there, knowing that the support was there in their community to help them. It really can go a long way. So maybe as we go forward here, we'll see that deployment really increase. But certainly there's lots of room for improvement, I'd say, on that.
Could you still use an increase? My guess is a few of those federal ministers or people in their office are watching tonight. I was just a bit surprised because I had not heard that before. Could you still use them if they were to say they're available?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big thing, we have crews all over trying to restore power, right? So certainly with debris clearing, line clearing, as I say, DNR has really stepped up from multiple provinces that sent people here, DNR crews to do the cutting and clearing. But then when you have crews doing all that, even something like traffic control on a road, flagging crews for each of these are types of things that you just need people. You just need qualified people to do it. So there's lots of need. There's lots of need for sure. But, we'll continue to work with the federal government to see if they can, what can be done.
Just one last question for you, Premier, before I let you go, and that's around an issue that you were flagging quite often last week around the telecoms and some of the struggles there with cell coverage. The Deputy Prime Minister had a meeting with those companies along with Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne. Do you have any indication of what might change, goodness forbid, for the next storm, or if there is a concrete plan or a set of discussions underway?
Yeah, so early days. So I do know that there was a meeting with the telecoms, and I did hear from the Deputy Prime Minister after that meeting. We had a chat, but I kind of reiterated at that time, our number one priority right now is getting people power, getting people proper shelter, making sure people are safe, have food, water, all those things. And then there's a discussion to have about the medium and the longer term. But certainly, I would say it is federally regulated, so there's only so much we can do. But whatever we can do in Nova Scotia, we will be doing to make sure that there's accountability built in. And really just, one of the things we had command centers set up, but we really wanted the telecom communications companies to be part of that. But, for whatever reason, they weren't. So those are the types of things that we just need to learn from these things and do a little better going forward. But as I say, lots of bright spots in the work that's being done and the community members stepping up for sure. But certainly a couple areas where it can be done better.
Okay, Premier, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, and we keep thinking about everyone there in Nova Scotia.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much. Tim Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.